Is it on? There it is. Be here.
I am not. We have another gentleman. When I printed the words off, there were some words I didn't know.
Great, how are you?
You're welcome. Good to see you too.
You want to sit here? You could, because I can play that.
No, I'm not there.
Hi, Facebook Live family. We are going to be getting started shortly. We thank you for joining us, and we are excited for the second TheCoreofU Saturday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everyone, feel free to get your coffee if you want to get it. We are going to get started this morning, and there'll be more people joining us. So we want you to be comfortable. We want you to prepare yourselves. I'm going to just kind of give a general welcome. Those of you that were with us last time know that CORE stands for the Community of Restoration and Enlightenment. Enlightenment. Community. It's what we all are. You self-select in. You come here, you sup with us. It's nothing that you join. It's nothing that you do. You just show up and offer your gifts and offer your person to the community. Restoration, to the spiritual default that we all came here to earth with. As you came through that birth canal and were held by your parents, you were in your most pure default state before your tape was recorded on with hurts and life experiences and things that happened that kind of distorted that default state. So we want to take you back to that highest, purest form. And enlightenment, you can't help but evolve as you obtain information and, most importantly, apply it to your life. So that's what we're about here, the Community of Restoration and Enlightenment. And Kenneth and I are your co-founders and coaches for the morning. And what we do is speaking engagements, couples coachings. We'll be coming to you with couples retreats and workshops. We are partnering with other organizations to bring you content that's fresh and that is uplifting. And so we really want you to stay in touch with us, stay in tune so that we can build together. If there's something that you think there's a need for, we would love you to let us know that as well. We recently went into the community and passed out hand to hand with the homeless items that they needed. It is freezing here in California right now. So they needed coats, blankets, rugs, anything, toiletries. And it was from our members to other members of the community. That was the beauty of it. And it was all done in dignity and respect, because truly we are all here at different stages of our life. So those are the kind of things. And it all started because one of our members said, this is what I do. And we said, we're going to join you. So it's organic. Children are welcome here. And you guys, just be yourself. It is informal, it is beautiful, it is spirit, and it's organic. And most importantly, those of you who are active on social media, retweet, put the statements and the things that you like on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on any form of social media, and let the people know that the community is here and alive and well. And we want to also support our guests that are here with us this morning, and we will be sharing their information with you as well. We'll be posting on our website because we want to support one another in our gifts. Our motto is live life's best from your core. Your core is your authentic self. Live life's best from your core. That's our motto. So before we get started with the meditation, I just want to remind you that this is a safe place. There's no one denomination, no one perspective person. There's people that believe different things. Some don't have a spiritual practicum, some do. We're here to compliment you, reinforce you, and help push one another to our best version. And so just keep that in mind. We may not, especially when we get to the group discussion, we may not all have the same beliefs and same thoughts, but that's the beauty in it. We can take something from one another. So we are going to have a wonderful woman and spiritual mentor guide us through a meditation this morning, and I want to read a little something about her before I bring her up. And her name is Dorothy J. James. She is a spiritual director, author, teacher, speaker, counselor, and meditation therapist. She is the founder and executive director and facilitator of various spiritual direction and formation groups, specifically founder of the Spiritual Direction Ministries of Playa Vista, California, Circle of Wisdom, which is women, and executive director of the Inner Path Institute and owner of D.J. James Legal Services, LLC. Dorothy is one of 10 daughters born to the late pastor, Elder Mabin and Lena James of Linwood, California. Her father's teachings regarding the mind-body-spirit connection had a profound influence on her life, as he taught the Bible from a Pentecostal metaphysic perspective before either methods became popular or secular. And I am going to bring her to you now to ground us and to share her gifts with us. Please welcome her.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see. Is there any way possible to dim the lights just a little bit? If not, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. So good morning.
Good morning.
What I would like to do with our collective conscious this morning is awaken us more. I know that we're awake right now. We've awakened into this, what we call a relative state of consciousness, the waking, sleeping, dreaming. These three are all relative states, which means they're constantly changing. But the spirit within us is non-changing. And we're going to go to that fourth state of consciousness, to awaken. Awaken and alive the more. We're going to touch heaven and bring it back. Okay, is that all right?
Yes.
We're going to touch the spirit, the self, the true you. And this is done because God gave us this ability, this indwelling power to do so. And if you believe that, we can all go there. It's more than a belief as well. Awaken to the self. Awake simply is, in the Greek, the letter A is alpha, beginning, primordial. I heard Bianca, and I heard in my spirit as she touched into the primordial womb within us all, the state that we were in as embryos. As an embryo, the heart was the first organ that developed, and the mind came out of it. So we're going to go where the heart dwells, and then our mind will develop out of that. Okay?
Yes.
So, waking, sleeping, dreaming. Three relative consciousness. Fourth consciousness, absolute, pure consciousness in the womb of spirit, the source of thought. So if someone says to you, I can't meditate because I think, that's fine. We're going to go to the deeper source of thinking. We're going to turn our consciousness within. And when you turn the thinker within, energy will flow. Intelligence will tell it which way to go. So this morning, get comfortable in your seats. I'd like to first put a shield around us of love. I want to show you a quick hand mudra. The hand mudra that we're going to use for the heart, we're going to cover the heart chakra. Take your right hand and put it over your heart. Find your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat. Now I want you to take your left hand. Your thumb is up. Take your left hand and cover your heart. And touch. Let the thumbs touch. Take a deep breath. And look behind me. Just gaze. Don't stare. Just gaze lightly. While you're holding your heart mudra, you're feeling your heart. Let your eyes gaze. And then I want you to look around this room at every other person and give them loving presence. Give them a smile. Feel your heart in your head. This is putting a loving presence around our meditation. Now take your hands and put them onto your lap, upward. Gently close your eyes. Now open your inner eye. Feel the energy of the inner eye. Now place your conscious mind on your ears. Listen. As if someone is about to whisper the greatest secret in your ear. Listen. Stay awake. Listen. It is the spirit that hears, not the ears. Listen. Now place your conscious awareness within the center of your heart. Sense your heart as a beat or throbbing. Feel the vibration. Energy. Intelligence. Now move that throbbing into your hands. Feel your heart in your hands. Energy. Intelligence. Throbbing. Heart. We're going to hold the space inside. If there's any sounds, use it to go deeper into your meditation. Stay awake. untangle our thoughts from this changing world and allow us to dwell in that non-changing presence within us. In thy perfect love, we shall grow into thy children. And to this we say, it is so. And so it is. Bow your heads to your heart. Move into your heart mantra. Repeat. And so it is. Namaste. I can be reached. I actually have cards for you today, but I can be reached through Facebook, through the path. If you connect, if you're on Facebook, my card would also have my email address, and I can be reached that way as well. And of course, I can always be reached on your meditation. Peace.
Let's give Ms. Dorothy another hand. Thank you so much for taking us to that place. You should be nice, ready, present to receive. Did you guys enjoy that?
Yes. Yes.
Meditation is a wonderful, wonderful practice. Wonderful practice to have in your life. We have now a short video that I'd like to show you all that talks a little more about what we are here at Core with Bianca and I. So please watch the video. Thank you. One of the opportunities that we enjoy with doing core is our opportunity and our ability to be able to share gifts of other core people or people that we come in contact with our community. I had the pleasure of being introduced to a young man recently by the name of Mr. Doug Mitchell. Mr. Doug Mitchell is a vocalist, he's an instrumentalist, he's a producer, and he's a writer. I was able to listen to some of his music, and I really, really liked what I heard. I was introduced to him actually from some sister Tasha, and we asked him and I spoke a little bit here and there. We asked him to come out, would he share his gift with us today? And he was like, yeah, sure, definitely. He was, sounded excited. So he's here today. We're thankful for having him. And I'll tell you a little bit about him. Over the past 20 years, the Georgia native has inspired and entertained audiences, young and old, with his distinguished voice and captivating talent. He has shared his melodic voice all over the world, including England, Canada, the Bahamas, and now his journey has led him to Nashville, which now he is here in California. He teamed up on this epic journey with three well-known and respected writers, producers in country music: Alicia Hoffman, Faith Hill, Dixie Chicks, Shania Twain, and two-time Grammy Award winner Rebecca Lynn Howard, as well as Grammy songwriter-producer Lincoln Barnum Morris, Lecrae, Young Buck, Aston Jones, to create a world-shattering sound. His vocal versatility and broad spectrum appeal has afforded him the opportunity to work on a variety of recent projects and has kept him busy on the corporate music scene while he was in Miami. Doug is an independent artist, signed to Mitchell Entertainment Group and Associates, Mega, with global distribution through River, Park Media, and Entertainment One. Please give him a warm core welcome for our brother, Mr. Doug Mitchell.
I promise you, I didn't tell him to. I didn't suggest that he read all that off that paper. Like, damn, that's a lot of pressure. Okay. Everybody, hello, my name is Doug Mitchell. It's a pleasure to be here. That's why I want to get close, if that's all right with you. Yeah. And can I get the lights just a little bit, too? I figured she could get on that, bags, too. Again, thank you, Ken and Bianca, for having me here. Tasha made it happen. And check 1, 2, 3. As Ken said, my background is pretty varied. I spent a little while in Nashville. From Atlanta, Georgia. I recently moved to California about a year ago. Found myself in the high desert. I really don't know why God brought me here, but I'm happy to be here. This song is kind of a folksy, kind of has a little twang to it. As Ken said, I spent a little time in Nashville, did some country stuff, and this kind of gives you a little taste of it. If you know it, you can sing it with me. Are you hurting and broken within? Overwhelmed by the weight of your sin. Jesus is calling. Anybody heard this song before? Yes. All right, now I got to tell y'all something. I'm just going to share it with you, okay? Please. This is my first time bringing out the guitar. All right? Wow. I brought a guitar about 4 years ago, and all my friends like, man, you ain't gonna do nothing with that thing. And so this is my debut with this guitar. All right. Y'all hear something that ain't quite right? Y'all just gonna have to eat it, okay? All right. So it's are you hurt and broken within? Oh,
thirst for a drink from the well. Jesus is calling.
Is that all right?
Yes, all right. Go ahead.
Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide.
Then it goes.
Leave behind your regrets and your mistakes. Come the day, there's no reason to wait. Jesus is calling. Leave behind your regrets and your mistakes. Come the day, there's no reason to wait. Jesus is calling. Bring your sorrows and trade them for joy. From the ashes a new life is born. Jesus is calling. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide.
Then it goes.
Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Christ.
All right now. Amen. Yes, amen.
Thank you very much. I told Catherine that I'm gonna bring the guitar, but I don't know if I'm gonna play it. Thank you for being so graceful, giving me this opportunity. Y'all my first audience with this guitar. When I get done, I'm giving all y'all tickets.
Good job.
Doug, what's your guitar's name? Do you have a name for it yet?
I'm gonna. I gotta work on that one.
All right. You guys, we want you to be lively, make this your own. This is, if you need to get up and get some coffee, do it, but this is your own. We are here, be comfortable, be free, and most of all, bring your energy to it. So if you feel like you want to clap, if you feel like you want to stand, whatever you want to do, please do it, because we are spirit to spirit and we feed off of you. Doug, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us. And I know you're going to grace us with another song later, so we'll be ready for that.
We like to operate in the no judgment zone.
Amen.
That's where we like to operate, all right? So it doesn't matter what your background is, how much money you make, what race you are, what creed, who you voted for president. It doesn't matter any of those things. Just as long as you're authentic, you're real, be you, be free, because that's what God is. That's what the universe is calling all of us to be authentic, to be our authentic selves, to operate, because you will not be blessed and you will not find favor in the person you pretend to be.
All right, you better say that.
You will only find it in your authentic self.
That's
You
all
will only
right.
get better if you bring to God or bring to the universe your authentic self.
All right.
This is me. This is who I am, flaws and all. Love me or not. Is that all right? All right. So we're just gonna love on one another today. We would like to pour over your spirit because everybody in the world wants abundance, right? How many, show of hands, how many people want abundance in their life? Whatever that abundance is, we all want that abundance, right? The only thing we say is we don't want no more abundance of bills. We don't want no abundance of troubles and trials and tribulations. But everything, when I think of abundance, I think of goodness. I think of life. Right? Wealth, whatever it is. Even if I don't have the money, I always say, Father, give me the spirit of money. And if I don't have the spirit of money, allow me to be real good friends with somebody that have money. Real good friends. Access, right? Is that all right? Because Gail Gail didn't do too many talk shows, but she still got it made right now because of Oprah, right? Her friendships got her there. So we're going to talk about that today, maintaining and operating in your abundance, okay? We want to talk about that because so many people say it, they believe it, they talk about it, you hear it in church, you hear it on TV, banks, everybody's trying to get to this abundance. But how do we really operate in it? And then once we get it, we want to be able to maintain it.
That's right.
Because a fool with $1 million will be broke tomorrow.
That's not true.
Is that all right? But with intelligence, with wisdom, with understanding, that person can take $1 million and feed millions, feed thousands of people. And if they learn how to invest it and do the right things and connect with the right people, they can turn that $1 million to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, as Jay-Z say. All of that is, he can just double it and keep going, okay? So we want to talk about that today, about maintaining and operating in your abundance. We have these microphones, but
Can everybody hear us?
can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right. I have a big mouth, so I just want to be free and want to be able to talk to you all.
Go ahead.
So I want to share this with you real quick. A man was walking, and as he was walking, he passed some elephants. He suddenly stopped, confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope that was tied to their front leg. No chains, no cages. It was obvious that the elephants could, at any time, break away from these ropes they were tied to, but for some reason, they did not. He saw a trainer nearby and asked why these beautiful, magnificent animals just stood there and they made no attempt to get away. Well, he said, when they were very young and much smaller, we used the same size rope to tie it to their leg. And at that age, it was enough to hold them. As they grew up, they became conditioned to believe that they could not break away. They believed the rope could still hold them, so they would never try to break free. The man was simply amazed by this. These animals could at any time break free from their bonds, but because they believed they couldn't, they were stuck right where they were. Like those elephants, how many of us in this room right now, or if you're live on Facebook, how many of us go through life hanging on to a belief that we cannot do something simply because we failed at it once before? How many of us have been conditioned by our past and even by some of our own current circumstances and by what people say to feel that we are limited in our abilities? Are we purpose-driven? Or do we operate in a spirit or a consciousness of fear? Nothing, listen to this, nothing will discourage you quicker than focusing on all things that you don't have. Is that all right?
All right.
Today, my babe and I, we talked about it at first. Last time I spoke, and this time she was going to speak. But this time we decided that we were going to do this together. So for the first time, we're going to speak to you all together as a couple.
We're doing a tandem.
All right, so
Tag team it. Discouragement, like no other emotion, will paralyze you. When you're feeling discouragement, it prevents you from taking massive movements and steps into that next best version of yourself. What you have to do is put mechanisms in place ahead of time to be able to maintain a mindset of abundance. I'm going to call them our AMs. We want to attain and then maintain a mindset of abundance, okay? And first, let's talk about this. One of the hardest things to do is when you feel like you're in a circumstance of lack, is to think about abundance. And I love to first give a definition and then give a personal testimony. What is lack? The state of being without or not having enough. When my husband and I were getting started early in our relationship and our life together, we lived in one room in my parents' house. This was before before the homes, before the children, before the now, okay? And when we were in that state, we had both before this rented apartments, owned property, owned homes, and had flourishing full lives, full of things. And in this state, we were in one room. We had our 2 cars, our clothing, and any other possessions that we had was in storage. on top of these physical circumstances, we lost one income. And it was earlier on in our 10-year journey. So at this point, on top of these conditions and outside scenarios, we were getting to learn one another, not only as Bianca and Ken together in the same state, but it was like, okay, this is a new scenario. Not only do I know how Bianca's going to respond to this, how is Kenneth going to respond to this, right? So it was a new mindset all around. We had an opportunity to do one of two things. We could go into lack, or we could go into abundance. And so what we chose to do at that time, folks, was pull together and build up one another. But this is not just a dynamic that occurs in relationships. Think about it. One of the biggest stressors in a family is when you lose someone. And we don't know how any of us is going to act. Or in friendships, when someone has less time, maybe you decide, I'm going to go pursue a business or a goal, and you no longer have time to do the things you used to do with your friends. And how are they going to support you? Now we're in a new scenario. We think we're the same people, but we're facing a new scenario. One person might feel like it's lack of time. It's lack of resources in a death or in a situation where you're relating. And another person might say, no, this is an opportunity for us to build. Let's move up. Let's support. Let me pull you. I have a business opportunity. You have a business opportunity. Let's see how we can iron sharpen iron and help one another. What happens in a situation when you feel like something is subtracted or taken away from you? The thing is, in nature, that's called a purging and a pruning process. You know, a takeaway. We were in a season of things being removed. But you have to, a lot of times, shed before new growth can come in. You have to shed friendships. Sometimes you have to shed old beliefs. You have to shed circumstances. And once we realize this is a beautiful scenario, not only can we pay rent to family and build up and recycle dollars that way, but we can save money. We started to coin our room, our flat. We started to become creative in our alone time. And it pushed us to another level of intimacy because we had to be battle tested together. It was what I call a mindset. It pushed us into a mindset of abundance. And let me give you a definition. Functionally, abundance is a very large quantity of something, right? From a material standpoint, we think of possessions, we think of belongings, we might even think of love or family. But I love Derek O'Neill's, how he defined it. He said, the essential meaning of abundance is that you are solidly happy with who you are, and no external event or situation, whether good or bad, can add or subtract from your happiness. No one is happy all the time. But when you are truly in a mindset of abundance, you live in balance, hopefulness, and unlimited possibility. So in that room, we had the same peace and joy. We had the same bickers and battles, and we had the same laughs as we do in our 4-bedroom home today. It didn't change our mindset. We were able to see one another and celebrate one another. So it didn't feel like a holding pattern. It felt like a building stage. Like, okay, this is our season to rebuild. One of my favorite scriptures is Matthew 6:33, and I'll read it. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. We had to come together complete within ourselves. Then, as a couple, we had to be complete within our definition of what abundance looked like. And then we were able to walk in it, no matter what our circumstances look like. So you know how good it felt when one more income came back? We were like, oh, we got some extra money. And then when we had more space, we were like, we have no furniture to fill this with. So now, you know, it was a rebuilding phase. We got to work together.
Amen. One of the things that took for us was patience. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. That word, patience. They say patience is virtue. What is virtue? Virtue is good that brings about more good. Patience, it takes discipline to have patience.
Yes.
And check this out. We are more willing to have patience with some things than other things. We know it.
Amen.
Check this out. This is, Bianca was talking about this. We were talking about this one time before. We will be a little more patient with maybe the person that's begging for money at the gas station because we know, well, maybe they don't know better or maybe they have bad circumstances or situations. We will be more patient with them than we will be with some of our own family that we say we love every day. Because we got the same mama. I know he know better. She know better. We was raised in the same household. Daddy taught us better than that. We will become totally impatient with them. But we'll be patient with the total stranger. Wow. Patience, patience, patience. Patience is such a powerful thing to have. But it has to be balanced and it has to be done at a right time. Because sometimes we can become too patient. Sometimes we put too much energy and time in places where God is calling us. It's time for you to get out of there.
Wow.
The universe is saying it's time for you to up level and elevate. It's time for me to bless you. I got some things that I'm going to do for you that you're not going to be able to handle at the level you're at now. It's time for you to upgrade. It's time for you to go to another level. Those friends you hang with, they're not going to be able to handle these blessings that I have for you. So some of them you may have to let go. So then you have to learn that you can't be too patient in those situations. But the flip side of that is impatience. When we are impatient, we begin to think and operate from an illogical and just a wild and crazy place sometimes. In our impatience, I heard Pastor Keon say something that was so powerful. He said that in our impatience, if we're not careful, we will begin to do something or take on actions that will birth the one thing that contradicts my blessing. In my impatience, I may take on an action or do something that totally wipes out the favor that God had for me.
Wow. Amen.
So you have to be careful. This is why we began with meditation. Why we began with meditation is because, like I say, and you'll continue to hear me say this all day today, balance. We need balance in our lives. We were made in His image and likeness. So the essence of us is divine. This is why we're able to overcome, love through death, have peace in the midst of confusion. This is why we're able to do all these things, because of the essence of who we are is divine. But just because you're divine, that doesn't take away your humanness. My humanness says I hurt.
Right.
My humanness says I shed a tear for all of those young people and those grown-ups that were killed in the school the other day. My humanness said I wish I could have been there to support. I wish the young man wouldn't have done what he done. But the reality when I wake up says he did it. So now what? Now what? Now what are we going to do? Are we going to pull together, stand up, or are we going to continue just sitting back, watching these things continue to happen to our children? Is that all right? So you can be too patient, but make sure that you're not impatient. Okay?
And one of the things dealing with impatience, I coined a phrase called U-turn faith. And this was from me doing my own self-reflection. When you're going the wrong direction, what do? You want to take a detour or turn around, right? And sometimes we do that when we're waiting for that very thing we have said we desire, that thing we prayed for, that thing we put on your vision board. You put it out there, and it's taking too long. It doesn't feel like it's going the way you want, so you turn around. And you take things into your own hands, and you block that pathway, because now you no longer can keep straight. So you turn faith. Scripture tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for. Okay, I hope, I desire for this. And the evidence of things not seen. So it's not around me. I don't see it anywhere, right? So, of course, it's easy to get weary. It's easy when I was in that room to think about, when is the house going to come? When is the bank account going to grow fast enough? Okay, now this we have to divert money over here. It starts to feel like things are taking long. That when is the season now of my harvest coming? But once you become aware of this emotion, you have to have something to move your faith from hope into knowing. And now I'm going to give you 5 steps, you guys, because I believe in application. So I'm like, all right, how do I do this? And I love this. Maybe you can go back and watch the video or, take notes. But Deepak gave like a prescription for moving from hope into knowledge. Because once you know something, you don't have to relearn that lesson again. It's like muscle memory in your spirit. Once you know it, you're affirmed in belief. So you no longer have to hope for it. Now you know about it. You can go talk about it. You can tell somebody. And you evolve in that area. And our hope is to keep doing that, especially in places where we feel uncertain. So I had never been in this situation before with a spouse. I had bought homes on my own in better circumstances, but now we were in the thick of a recession. How do we come out of this? Realize, number one, step one, realize that your life is meant to progress. So you have to know going in, I am meant to keep evolving. Prosperity is destined for me. I don't have to stay at the same level. Maybe you want to live a simpler life. Maybe you desire that. But if that's your desire, that even is a chore these days. You know what I'm saying? To bear down. But just know you're meant to progress. Step two, reflect on how good it is to truly know something rather than just hope. Now, I'm not going against hope, but what I'm saying is you want to evolve your faith. Because you won't work towards something if you stay in the hoping phase. When you start to really believe that it can happen and know that it can happen, you start to take affirmative steps towards it. It's like maturity, so to speak. Number two, again, someone asked for, reflect on how good it is truly to know something rather than just hope and believe. So don't settle for less. Write down your situation. So this is where we get into application. Step 3. Make 3 separate lists. Things that you hope are true, things that you believe are true, and things that you know are true.
All right.
Okay? I hope to get a house in a tough market. It was an all-cash market, and we were going in with a VA loan, okay? They were looking at us like, we're putting that to the back of the pile. So at that point, I was hoping, okay? And then we believed that if we kept looking and found the right real estate agent, it could happen. And that was something I said, okay, Ken, this is a special circumstance. We need somebody really experienced in this area. So we had to switch realtors. We even had to get more focused on where we were looking for a house and more specific in the things we wanted. Because if you cast a wide net, you're all over the place. What do we really want? How many windows? How many bedrooms? Close to what school districts? Like, we started to get more, what did they say, sophisticated as buyers. And then we moved, when we started to think about what did we know? What did we know about this? We knew that diligence, we had to stay the course. And of course, 3 months in and 2 closings that fell through, escrows that fell through, I was like, that U-turn started to kick in. Why don't we wait till after the holidays? Why don't we wait till there's less cash on the market? And it's like, no, we got to stay the course. Then we started to prepare ourselves. That's when you know this is what we knew to be true. We had to be pre-qualified. We had to have our credit score in place, and we had to have a certain amount of money to prepare for closing costs and things. Those are things you know, right? So, and then we had to be patient and look for the right fit. So ask yourself, that was step 3. Now, what are the things, I have my list of what I hope for, what I believe for, and what I knew to be true about this scenario. Step 4, ask yourself why you know the things you know. Experience, talking to other people, research, that's how you know the things you know. So when you're going into a scenario that you're blind about, what's the first thing you do? You want to seek wise counsel. You want to start to become more informed about that situation. And most important, you want to be still. Because how can you make a qualified move if you don't really know about that situation? And that's where we really have to rely on divine guidance. I realized the times that I exercised the most faith is when I knew the least about the subject matter I was dealing with. Because I had to rely on intuition. I had to rely on experience of others and less on my interference and wanting to take the wheel and deal with the situation myself. I couldn't muddy the waters because I didn't know enough to muddy the waters. And sometimes that's what we need to do, step back and assess. Step 5 is apply what you know to those areas you have doubts, where only hope and belief exist. So when I applied diligence, preparation, and patience to the phase of just hoping and believing, that's when we got on the same page. And then we started working together, and we manifested the thing that we wanted, the house, the realtor, the right realtor, and it pulled together in 2 months, flat. We had one offer, and that was the offer. Once we really pulled together and applied knowledge to where we had areas of doubts and beliefs. The brain likes to work coherently and methodically, even when it comes to spirituality. The first 2 steps were psychological preparation. The last 3 I gave you were to clear your mind and open the way for knowledge.
So what she's saying is, your provision will become more transparent once you take the time to get out of your own way. We, a lot of times, are the cause of our problems and the situations that we're in. And then if we're not the cause, we don't want to take accountability. How do you respond to the negative situation that you were put in? Because you don't have to respond in the way that it may have been called for. And so now, you find yourself way down the road, and now you done messed up type of good friendships. You done messed up, you done burned bridges. You done all of these negative things. Why? Because you failed to get out of your own way. And in that, then, I need to remove the lid of human limitation. Because we know that we are divine, or that we are spirit on a natural journey, there are some things that you'll be able to take your mind and overcome before your body even gets there. There are some things that before the natural situation shows up, you have already won in your mind. They say Ali was the greatest because he talked a whole lot of junk and had them beat in their mind first. So once they stepped in the ring, it was over with all before the man rung the first bell. That's how we have to be with any opposition, with anything that goes against us in life. We have to already know who. That's why it's so important that you know who you are. That's why it's so important that you know that you come and open up. Because guess what? Opposition attacks you in 3 different places. Opposition will attack you in your strengths, in your weaknesses, and in the things that you're influenced by. That's where opposition will attack you every time. If you know that your weakness is your children, guess where opposition is going to come in now? He's going to get to one of them babies. If he know it's your money, you love your money, he's going to start messing with them. And on the job, the boss is going to start talking like they're getting ready to do layoffs. And now you running around there on pins and needles. I say this often. I don't know the story. I don't know the end. But man, I know the author. So because I have a relationship with the author, and the more intimate I get with him, and the more I begin to know him or she, whoever you believe the author is, the more I become intimate with the author, I don't have to worry about the end result. Because I know that it's going to be for my good. Is that all right? I know it's going to be in my best interest. So I have to be able to look at my consciousness versus my subconsciousness. Because a lot of times we go forth and say a lot of things, but our subconsciousness cuts us off from our favor. Have you ever been in a situation where you said, somebody calls you and say, hey, you coming over? You say, yeah, I'm on my way. But you know in the back of your mind, you know in the back of your mind when they asked you first time, you didn't really want to do it. That's how subconscious works. In the back of your mind, you're saying one thing consciously. You may even be showing the positive face or the game face. But in the back of your mind, your knees are like this. Your teeth are chattering because you're afraid. Because you don't know. Do you understand that? So we have to get to a place, which goes back to why we did meditation at first. Because I'm trying to find balance with my conscious and subconscious mind. My subconscious mind, as you sit here right now, if I told you to just be quiet, it will bring you 1,000 different thoughts that's going on. I tell people all the time, you study this in psychology and stuff. Light. There's a light there. There's a wall back there. Somebody's wearing this color over here. B has this sweater on over here. Lenora, I'm looking at her. All of these different things are going on. Your subconscious mind is taking all of these things in. And you don't even know it. It's taking all of these things in. Different little noises, what's going on outside, all of these things. And then, a lot of times, before we even know it, we project those consciously. So, this is why it's important that we're careful of the environment we hang around in. Because when I hang around in a positive environment, guess what's happening? I'm subconsciously taking in the things that are positive.
That's true.
If I'm around people that's speaking good and speaking positivity and showing good and giving off good energy, after a while, I have no choice but to take that and to get that on my own. Is that all right? Yes. And let me tell you something. A lot of people say, well, you're supposed to serve God or do good because that's what's morally right. You're not supposed to go to God looking for nothing. You're not supposed to go to the universe looking for nothing. I have breaking news for you all. Universal law says if you put it out, you will get it back. You cannot go against universal law. If you put it out, you will get it back. So why do I do good? Because I want good back. I'm sorry. So that's selfish. You're right. Because I selfishly want good in my life. Why did you stop hanging around those negative friends? Because I didn't want negativity back in my life. Because why did you stop hanging around the liar? Because every time I needed truth, he gave me a lie.
Go ahead and talk.
Why did you stop putting your purse down around the thief? Because I wanted my money. You understand what I'm saying? We make all these things so difficult and all of this, but the real is just real. There are people in your life right now, you know it, you need to cut them off. You need to cut them off. Consciously versus the subconscious. It is imperative that we stay the course because sometimes we envision what could be only to wake up to what really is. Only to wake up to what really is. And in life, things happen around us. Things happen to us. But the only thing that truly matters is what's happening within us. Okay? An obstacle at any time can be turned into an opportunity.
That's all right.
It's all about your perspective.
Yes.
It's all about your perspective. If you can take a person and change their perspective, oh my goodness. Wow. You can make a poor person feel that he's a millionaire. It's all about perspective. So in our conclusion today, we talked about several things, but one of the things that we wanted to point out is self-awareness. Self-awareness is a mechanism that we need to set up to succeed in life. We need to be more aware of who we are. And that begins by being honest with yourself. It doesn't really matter too much what mama says, what daddy says, and they know you and they know some things about you, and you definitely should take those into consideration. But how do you see you? How do you feel about you? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel good about the person that you are? If you don't, how do you expect me to?
Well,
That's right. And true story, my husband turned to me this morning, he said, had I met you when you were hungry or sleepy, I don't think we would have been married. I'm angry and I'm not me when I'm tired. I said, you know what? Spiritual fatigue, that when he talked about the opposition will attack you where you know you, when I'm tired, I just need to go lay down and reset the clock. And I will come out of pocket and I'll just be like, okay, instead of having to say a bunch of apologies, let me go lay down and take a nap. Put myself down, wake up with a fresher perspective. But in those moments, why is that important for me to know myself? Because I'm like quick to go to a lack mindset if I'm looking through sleepy eyes. It's like, woe is me, I'm not feeling it, it's not enough time, it's not enough resource. You know, I'm just like, when are we going to be able to do our dreams? I don't have enough time, I'm a mom, I got to work 12 hours. You start to look at everything from lack. Awake, happy bee is like, oh my God, you know, let's do it, let's go we'll revisit this. And he was right. So that is critical in being self-aware, having those affirmations and things to pull you back when you just don't feel it. I have Outlook reminders at work. I have things in my phone, things in the car just to look at, just constant reminders. And when all those fails, I need to get on the phone with somebody that's positive and play something to pull me back, whether it be music, looking at a YouTube video, a sermon from somebody, something I recorded, because there's just days you wake up and you're not feeling it.
That's right.
Know that about yourself,
Right.
but don't stay there.
Right. That's right.
The ability to be aware and conscious, and we communicate about it. I'll just say, you know what, I need you to just have my back, be patient with me today, because I'm just not in a good space.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll go take a walk, or I'll say, can I just go upstairs away from you and the children and have a moment, and I'll come back a better person. But it's really being real and honest about where you're at.
So knowing yourself, and I just want to share this with you real quick. It just happened to me this weekend. I find great messages in some of the strangest places sometimes. I bought this little coffee table at my job about a year ago, and it sits right outside of my office. And the reason we did it was because right outside of my office, it's right by the exit door, when people were leaving out, the women would always put their purses on the ground or their lunch bags and things like that. And I don't know, I'm old school. My mom, don't put your purse on the ground. That was her thing. Here I am in Kmart holding her purse outside the bathroom while she's in there because she believed, boy, don't you put my purse on the ground. So I did the table and all of that, and lo and behold, somebody moved my table. Somebody moved it down. And I didn't trip or anything like that, but when they moved it to an area that was uneven. And so the table started wobbling, the table started making noise. It kind of became a nuisance, right? And I'm sitting around like, what is that noise? What is that noise? Some of my coworkers came and they were like, man, I think you need to give this to somebody in another department. I think you want me to throw it away before you can, I'll throw it away now. And I'm like, don't touch my table, it's brand new. So I go out, I look at my table and I'm looking at it and I'm assessing it, I'm looking at it. And I flipped it over and realized that it came with an option where I could adjust the legs on it.
Okay.
So I adjusted the legs on it, put it back down, table was like brand new. Isn't that so crazy? Absolutely nothing wrong with the table. But they were willing to throw the table away. The problem was not with the table. It was the surface that the table was sitting on. What is your foundation? What is the substance of your foundation? What are you standing on? When the wind blows and all of this, when people start saying all this manner of ill will against you, what are you standing on? What are you really standing on? When they talk about laying you off on your job, what are you really standing on? When your best friend that you loved and fell out with and came back and forth just turned their back totally against you, what are you standing on? If your husband and your wife leave you, your children tell you they don't love you anymore, what are you standing on? Abundance is about knowing yourself, and it's going to hurt when those things happen, but being able to respond in a healthy way and overcome it. Because somebody don't like you shouldn't take you out of here.
All right. Right.
Are you kidding me?
You're kidding me.
That shouldn't take you out of here.
Well,
That might hurt my feelings a little bit, but it shouldn't take me out of here. That's what abundance that we're talking about today, and knowing yourself and living from that place. So we need to make sure that we spend more time. Write this one down or keep this in your mind. Spend more time with people that look like your future instead of your past. The reason why we created Core and God put this on our spirit because of the people that we begin hanging around with and the spiritual things they begin saying to us and the things we begin feeling in our own self. And we were like, wait a minute, there's something to this. Our past is our past. And if you're not careful, people will hold you hostage to your past.
yes.
Those are the kind of people that you don't need to be patient with. You understand what I'm saying? I'm looking at them like, listen, on my phone, right now on your phone, if you go into like system and all that, there's an update.
Yeah.
There's an update button. I'm looking at them like, man, I've updated. I'm not the same version I was last year. I'm 2.0. I ain't 1.0 kid no more. So you operating and interacting with me as a version of what I used to be. And everything out of your mouth is who I used to be. It's time for you to upgrade and learn who I am now. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or that we got it all figured out, but I'm sure better than what I used to be.
And we know that's possible. So you guys, this was beautiful. I hope that you found some steps that you can take with you. Your AMs, attain and maintain a mindset of abundance. Those steps that we need to take to move from just hoping and believing to knowing and applying it backwards. It starts at hope. That's beautiful. But we want to constantly push ourselves to move into knowing. Because that's when it becomes affirmed. That's when it becomes real. Spend time, watch your environment, and be patient. Be patient in your self-awareness. Be patient in your self-awareness. And abundance is all around you because it's within you. So we are going to conclude our session here with us talking, but we want to move into hearing from you in our next thing. So let's give a hand.
Brother Doug is going to bless us with another song. All right. We want to hear from him definitely. Yes, come on up, sir, please. So he'll bless us with the song. After this, we'll come back and have a few more things that we'll say, and then we'll get into our open discussion. Cousin Tasha, can you come forward, please? Beat, will you come forward?
Yeah.
We're going to do our affirmations as he has to do it before we can do ours.
Okay.
I'm going to say good morning, but we're 2 minutes away from good afternoon. So, good morning or afternoon. For those that don't know me, I am Tasha Champion. I'm a certified master life coach. And I was honored when Bee asked me to come today and speak about affirmations for a few minutes. That is something that I believe in to the core of me. I say affirmations every day. I encourage people to say affirmations. They really, truly can change your life. So what I want to give you today are just a few affirmations that I call resetting your core. And you can do this at any time of day, situation, anything that you're in that you're uncomfortable with. If you just need that quick pick-me-up, you can instantly reset your core by saying affirmations. So what I want to do is, how many of you on Sunday night, you're like, oh, Monday's tomorrow, I got to go to work. And you're just instantly thinking about all the things that you have to do that week. You're already tired. You matter of fact, some of us are not tired, but because we constantly say we're tired, guess what? That's all that we begin to feel. Because we don't energize ourselves, we constantly say that we're tired instead of saying, you know, I'm rested or I feel good. So those are the things that you want to switch. So what I want to do is tell you how to reset your core into your next week, so that on Sunday night and Monday morning, you know that you're going to have a powerful week, okay? Yeah. So the first thing I want you to do is take a very deep cleansing breath. And for women, because we tend to do this, we always suck our stomachs in because it makes us feel better. But true intentional breathing is to expand your abdomen, like you see when a newborn baby is breathing, their stomach is going up. So when you're taking a deep cleansing breath, you want to expand, you want to take in all the air that you can, and you want to breathe deeply through your nose, inhale, and then exhale through your mouth. So in the morning, that first thing you do is take that deep cleansing breath, showing that you are clearing the way for a powerful week. The next thing you're going to do is state something you are grateful for. Start your week in gratitude. What are you grateful for? It could be, I'm grateful for waking up. I'm grateful I have the washing machine and dryer at my house. I'm grateful I have a car to get into that is warm in this 40-degree weather. I am grateful for the time that I get to spend with my family this morning as I love on them and send them off to work or to school. So what are you grateful for? Start that morning in gratitude. And then the next thing I want you to do is say about 3 to 5 affirmations. I'm just going to say 3 for now, and understand that affirmations are interchangeable. I'm just saying one to help you start your week. So most of you tend to say, I have to go to work. You don't have to do anything. You get to. Because it's a whole lot of people right now that wish they can get up and go to work. So the first thing is, I get to go to work. I get to have a powerful, productive, and purposeful week. Affirmation number 2. Everything I need is already in me. And affirmation number 3. I choose to move forward every day, growing and learning as I go. I'm going to say those again. I get to have a powerful, productive, and purposeful week. Everything I need is already within me. And I choose to move forward every day, growing and learning as I go. So you have your affirmations, and after you state those affirmations, I want you to take another deep cleansing breath, and then set your intention, not only for the day, but for that week. And think about that intention when somebody is getting on your nerves at work. Think about that intention when you are driving in this crazy LA traffic. Because when you can go back into that intention about having a beautiful and a blessed week, none of that stuff can begin to control how you really feel. Because you are in control of your emotions. You're in control of how you operate your day. You are in control of what you get to do in this life. I hope you
Thank Tasha for giving us our affirmations for today. We'll bring up our brother. Let's give him energy, y'all. Mr. Doug Mitchell.
Sometimes I'm cold, sometimes I'm hot, sometimes I'm prayerful, other times I'm not. Sometimes I feel like giving up, sometimes my faith is used up. Every time I get in a bind, I know you're there. Send up this real simple prayer. Rebuild me. Rebuild me. Hey. Rebuild me. Rebuild me. Gonna make mistakes. Have a price to pay, but I ain't never seen a perfect man. People say by grace, you'll never make everybody happy. God in heaven has the last say. Bruised and blemishes everywhere. Just remember this simple prayer. Rebuild me. I need to feel that music. Rebuild me. Can you help me sing that? Rebuild me. Oh, rebuild me. For the damage, rebuild me. For the broken, rebuild me. For the bruised, rebuild me. For the hurt, rebuild me. I know that it hurts, but rebuild me. Can y'all sing that with me? Oh, rebuild me. From your soul, sing and rebuild me. From your heart, rebuild me. It's not over till it's over. There's a renewing in the atmosphere. Y'all gotta say, rebuild me. Rebuild me. Oh, rebuild me. God, I'm standing here with all I know. Oh, standing in the need of prayer. God, if you hear me, would you let me know you're there? Come and fix me. Oh, fix me. If you don't do it, it won't get done. No, no. Oh, would you rebuild me? Sing it one more time.
Sing it.
Rebuild me. Rebuild me.
Excellent, right?
Doug has sung with the best, and now he's sung for the best.
All right.
So we thank you, Doug. I know it's like hard when it's like you want to get in on that song, and you don't know enough to get in, but you better get in on that. We were trying to back you up, Doug. We just needed to know exactly where to hit that note. But yeah, we could all use some rebuilding, right? You guys, we're doing this because we just felt it was our assignment to bring Core to life. And we're funding it on our own. If you want to sow a seed, there's no compulsion. There's a box over there to leave a donation. You can do it online at PayPal. You look us up by info, I-N-F-O, at TheCoreofU. And that's letter U. @ TheCoreofU. And we have slides for all of this, including how to keep up with Doug. We also have slides on how to keep up with Dorothy, everybody that came before you. But please see our website, our YouTube videos. We're going to add their information because we want to support one another. We really do. So we're going to do this as often as we're allowed to, but if you are touched to sow a seed, feel free. It would be a blessing to the community because we're doing everything we can to find places to rent and to come together and fellowship. We're going to find free locations, hopefully, to do smaller things as well, intimate workshops in between, but we thank you for any support you will do. We are also partnering today with another young woman that has a powerful assignment. And I would like to bring Leslie Best up because she is selling her prayer body washes. Because last time we did a poll about how many people pray in the shower and sing and do stuff in the shower, right? And so this is a perfect compliment for people who find their best in the water. Come on,
Good morning, or actually good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leslie Bess, and the name of my living ministry is JC and Me. I came here, I was invited by my beautiful friend Darlene, and I'd just like to thank you guys first of all for the opportunity and allowing me to share. Growing up, I admired the color yellow. I ate a lot of lemons, and I developed a passion for pictures and paper. And then 11 years ago, I met a man who had a lemon tree, and he's now my husband. At the time, I didn't realize the significant meaning behind that tree. But 5 years ago, when I met Christ, I learned real quickly that all along, God had been following me through, he was trying to capture my attention through a lemon, and I received confirmation that it was not a coincidence. A year after I met Christ, I wanted to share my story. I wanted to tell my friends about this new relationship I had with Christ. But I didn't know how I was going to tell them without having to give them a speech. So one night he clearly showed me that I would show them through my gifts, using paper and scissors and pictures. And I had started praying in the shower. And he just clearly told me that I would make this body wash and I would label it JC. And with the journal that I was going to make with them, I would explain to them how powerful prayer was and what I was doing in the shower. A few days later after that, someone gave me a gift. And without even knowing, it was a body wash and a yellow loofah, a sponge. So that was my confirmation. And after I gave this gift to 3 friends, one of them told me, I can really see you sharing your story and God's testimony with this body wash. So it's been 4 years, and I finally had the courage, all in God's timing, to create the body wash. So this is JC and Me Prayer Body Wash. I launched my business in October. This is my first product of many. And I have partnered with 2 different organizations. I give back 20% to victims of human trafficking, and I've partnered with an animal shelter here in Santa Clarita. But I also set myself up so I could raise money for different causes. So here in the back it says, buy one, give back 2, and whatever the cause is. So today, for anyone who's interested in buying JC and Me Prayer Body Wash, I'd like to donate 20% to TheCoreofU.
So we're supporting an entrepreneur, a small business with a big heart. So it's like, and you're supporting 2 causes already, and we give back to the community. And so I hope even those on Facebook, look her website up. Leslie, give your information.
My website is jcandmeprayers.com.
Okay.
Yeah, or you could look me up on Facebook at JC and Me, and on Instagram, JC and Me Prayers.
And that's, spell it out for them.
It's JC and Me stands for Jesus Christ in Me.
And
So.
it's JCINME.
Mm-hmm. JCINME.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So for those joining us on Facebook Live, we are going to sign off. And for our family in the room, it's time to tune in to one another.